Finland's Kaisa Makarainen is a former biathlon world champion and winner of 3 overall IBU World Cups, who retired from competing in 2020. How did she make the difficult decision to retire, and how has she navigated her post-competitive career? I'm Callum Murray, and I spoke to Kaisa to find out. Stay tuned. So, Kaisa, welcome to this podcast interview on behalf of the BIU.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to be here.
First thing I wanted to ask you, you obviously had a very successful career as a biathlete. You became world champion and you won 3 overall World Cups. How did you make the decision to retire, and how did you know when the time was right?
Well, it was a long process because I kind of felt already before Sochi Olympics 2014 that, okay, I'll do until the Olympics. Then we got the home world championships for 2015. And then I thought, okay, I will do 1 more year for the home world champs. And I think that after that 2015, seriously, first time I started to think that how long I will continue. And I still felt a big passion inside me. But because I come from quite a small biathlon country, Finland, nowadays it has grown actually quite a lot since I retired 2020. But almost every year I kind of had to find out that what kind of team we are going to have for the next year. Our head coaches, they changed almost every 2 years. So there was not really like a super long-term plan in the team. And I was used to that, okay, I have to create the team that is needed for the success on my own, with my personal coach, with my boyfriend who was my wax tech and who was helping me a lot in the summertime training. So it went quite many years, actually, only year by year. I felt that I have the passion. I didn't want to quit, but I really had to work in the springtime that I got everything together. And once I had been on the quite high level, I didn't want to continue if I wasn't sure that the team around me is good enough, not only for the training season, but also for the winter. So it was quite a lot of work. Some years a little bit more, some years a little bit less if the head coach had a 2 years contract. So on those years, the things went on a little bit more easily. But I think that then after the Pyeongchang Olympics 2018, then it started to feel more and more that, okay, the end is coming. But the very final decision, actually, it came only after the World Championships in Antholz 2020. So then I was, in the last month, I was sure that, okay, now it's time. Now I don't have any more that big passion to continue.
So you had 5 years of thinking about retiring. That sort of uncertainty that you lived with for 5 years, was that difficult?
Because as I said, that I had the passion for the sport and for the training and for the competing. So I was more or less like more worried every spring that if I can still continue on that level. Of course, I could continue with the lower level, but if you want to be one of the best in the world season after season, you need to have the certain level of training and the team around you. So as I said, that it took quite a lot of work, but in the springtime. But I tried to fix everything before I started the new training season, and then I could really calm down until the next spring again. So when the others went for the holiday to enjoy their month off after the season, I basically start working that, okay, now I have 1 month time to fix everything together.
Had you already planned a career for after you retired? And if so, has it worked out as you planned it? Has it been a good experience, retirement?
Somehow, I think I was mentally prepared that many things will change, also in the daily life, but also mentally. But actually, it changed a lot because the COVID started on the same week when I ended my career. So actually, my career ending came really in short notice because I was prepared for one more World Cup week in Holmenkollen, and then they said that okay, the Holmenkollen is cancelled. That now this is the very last week, and also the Sunday race was then cancelled. So I kind of noticed, I remember the moment on Friday evening on my sofa that, okay, it's tomorrow. I was prepared for one more week, but it's really tomorrow when it's my last race. And I was kind of prepared for that, but the COVID changed quite a lot because everybody's life around me changed at the same time. So the first 2 years were quite different, I guess, if the life would have continued in the normal way, I guess.
So, what had you planned to do after retirement, and how did it change because of COVID?
I think that I probably would have worked quite much more with the media, with my former sponsors, probably much more traveling. We had some plans to go for a longer time abroad or see the world and do stuff like that, what I hadn't do before, and then kind of search what I'm looking for, what kind of works I would like to do and so on. But that's traveling was not a case. In then, and also all the smaller things were also in Finland. Everything was cancelled. So more or less, I was just at home, going out to ski or run or do stuff like that. What I was able to do, it was really easy time. But on the other hand, I think that I was not alone with the big life change at that moment, because everybody else had also some uncertainty, uncertain feeling what is going to happen, how long does this take, and so you could speak with people who kind of felt something similar than me, because they had to learn new way of working, maybe at home, not go to the office like they used to go. So I can say that it was not only the negative things that the COVID made.
How has your post-competitive career worked out since COVID?
I had made a company for myself, like in my last year, but mostly because I thought that, okay, whatever I do, I probably first want to do it like a freelancer, and it's easier to with all the invoices and those on if you have a company. So it was more like a practical thing for me, and making up the company. So there was not any bigger idea what I'm going to do with that. But since then, I have worked everything through my own company. So I'm kind of still freelancer, doing the things that people still ask me to do. So I haven't been doing so much like really marketing for myself. A little bit, but not too much. It's around the sports. It's some media stuff. Still some different advertising, marketing things with the companies. Some coaching, ski coaching, and stuff like that.
So you have retained an involvement with biathlon.
Yeah, I can say so. And it's still the best thing I can say is the freedom that I can still make my own calendar and be my own boss like I was as an athlete. So it's nobody. I can take some projects, which is good. Like in the winter time, I'm working as an expert for Finnish television. So it's a one kind of project, and it also has to set like very clear start and very clear end. And I have liked this kind of system in my life so far.
And are there things you learned as a professional athlete that have helped you since you retired, do you think?
Of course, it's many practical things. I think that working with the media is one thing, because as an athlete, you anyway face with the media a lot. I'm not afraid of cameras or microphones, and you have really learned how those things work. But of course, now I also look that from the different point of view, and I have also learned a lot how the media is really working, what you don't see as an athlete. Of course, any kind of marketing stuff, what you do with the companies. As an athlete, you had a lot of, anyway, athletes have sponsors. They have some duties with the sponsors, what they do. I think in my career, it was not so much social media, what it is nowadays. I'm actually happy that I lived my career, most of my career without social media. But I kind of knew how you make the contracts. So what is important in the contracts and how everything works with that. Even though those are smaller nowadays, if you do some advertising in the social media, it's different. But anyway, you make some contracts and you know how to deal with them. And of course, the ski coaching, what I have done mostly for the so-called normal people, hobby athletes, also a little bit for the younger biathletes. But all that I have learned as an athlete. I had a really good ski coach when I was an athlete. And I always, when I coach someone, I always start to think that how my former ski coach would have thought this, because I felt that he was very good at it. Of course, many kind of experience. I think also the international stuff that you learned to speak English and use it and so on.
Do you still compete in sports? And if so, is it difficult to compete at a lower level when you've been an elite athlete?
Yes, I compete a little bit, but it's mostly for fun. And I feel that it has been nice to do something really different sports. I have been taking part some running events. I have been running on the desert in Wadi Rum, Jordan. For example, last autumn we went for Pyrenees stage run, which was 7 days running on the Pyrenees. And then some other trail running stuff in Finland, or some long distance ski racing. But I'm not really training for them like I did as an athlete. So I mostly go out for training to stay healthy and stay in some kind of shape. It's totally different than it was earlier, but I like to be out, be in the nature.
Do you have any regrets about your biathlon career? Is there anything you would have done differently?
Yeah, many, I think. I think there's so many small things, nothing very big things. But I wish that I could have had some more help for my shooting, for the rifle, and how to build up a perfect rifle for me. And because we didn't have, I think the rifle, and especially the rifle stock building, was not on so high level for us than, for example, how is it nowadays in the Finnish team. They are really putting some effort for that. And in the last years, I was working more or less alone with my shooting. So I think that for there, I hope that I could have got some help. And that's why I went to train a little bit with some other national teams to get some help and to get some ideas for the shooting training. Maybe there are some things. And yeah, I think I had some health issues during my career. I think that every athlete have them more or less. So maybe there I could have been more like a better with the rehabs, that little bit more stretching and and stuff like that. You always could have done some small things a little bit better, but I think the big lines are the most important, and there I don't have so big regrets.
It's not really fair me asking if you have any regrets, considering that you achieved so much.
It's a lot, but it could have been much more also.
Last question. What would be your advice to other biathletes as they approach retirement?
I don't really remember who said it to me, but I heard it once that you have to continue your career until you really feel that you have passion for that, and then one more year. so you don't regret coming back. So I think that already in my last year, I felt that I don't have so big passion to some things anymore what I used to have. I still did the things and the trainings and everything very good, but as a younger, you maybe had a little bit more interest for all the things than I had in the very end. And then when the losing, if you have a really bad race, if that is not hurting anymore so much, then you maybe, or it starts to, if you start to think that, okay, this was just another race. Tomorrow we have a new one, and you are not ready to go deep into the analysis and thinking about that, okay, what went wrong, what I could have done better. If it starts to feel so and so, then you see that you don't have the big passion anymore.
And do you have any practical tips? Your idea of starting your own company before you retired sounds like a good idea, so that you're in a position to capitalize on your profile.
Yeah, and nowadays, at least in Finland, it's very easy to make the company ready on the paper, and you learn a little bit how you send an invoice, how you receive some money from the companies, and so on. So maybe I think that was very good advice for me from my manager to make it ready. So immediately in the first year, I was ready to work on my own and learn a little bit more about it. I think that I have heard two kind of stories, that some people are not thinking at all what you are going to do afterwards, and someone has a really clear plan. It's a personality question. But the biggest thing what I miss from sports are the feelings, that when you have been working hard, you either get success or you either get bad results, but both of them brings you really strong feelings that you can't get anywhere else. I have been trying to get those feelings now 5 years, but you can feel happy and you can feel sad, of course, I don't say that. And you can be satisfied to the things that you have been working for, or unhappy. But I think that sports, maybe it's the physical thing also, that when you are, at least in our sport, when you have been really skiing fast, you are really tired in the end. And that probably makes all the feelings even stronger. It's both physical and mental feeling.
Kaisa, that's great. Thank you very much indeed. Really interesting.
Thank you.